afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, September 6th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Follow your bliss, and doors will open where there were no doors before. Joseph Campbell. The main reason why we suffer in this life is that we're trying to have a different experience than the one that is happening right now. Whenever we are not allowing a feeling, thought, or experience to flow through our body-minds, we are creating a subtle control around it and resistance to it. By not giving an experience space or permission to be experienced, we are judging it and cutting off the circulation of the wisdom it is attempting to offer us. Anytime we try to control, suppress, or overmanage an experience that the all-intelligent universe is offering us, we are missing the point. The moment we let go of control and allow for each life experience to show up as it is, we can actually enjoy every single experience that life provides, even the challenging ones. This approach to this life enables us to fully be alive so that we can feel, see, and experience that there is a divine, all-loving presence existing within everyone and everything. No matter what our situation in this life, no matter how stuck we think we are, or how profound our pain is, we do have the power to shift it completely right now. The power is in the first learning how to allow for it. By allowing a negative feeling full permission to be experienced in its totality, it relinquishes its grip upon us. This means allowing it to be here now, 100%, not 99.99%, but 100%. That tiny 0.01% means that our ego mind is not really letting go and fully trusting this magical all-intelligent universe knows what it's doing. The moment we truly get to let go and reach 100%, allowing, our suffering will instantly vanish. The day we discover how to be 100% free from suffering in our minds and bodies, we have learned something that money cannot buy. We will see that we are the masters of our lives and have the power to transcend any negativity that arises. Many of us are so used to suffering that we have grown accustomed to having some kind of mental or emotional battle going on a majority of the time in our internal world. We may be driving, watching TV, or talking with a friend, and all sorts of anxiety, restlessness, or resistance to certain thoughts, feelings, show up. The glass and fast-paced mind can be so wrapped up and immersed in the river of thoughts that it's not truly aware of the flowing divine experience that is available in each new moment. It is good to know that the ego, which is our limited identity, exists only because of years of resistance, control, and an eternal battle with what is. When we fight with existence, we create a separation from life. The ego then becomes a master at forming judgments, overexerting, feeling desperate, or deeply hoping that something in this life needs to change. The ego does not know how to allow. Only your heart and soul can do that for you. The ego is a pro of perpetuating insecurity for us. It creates these subtle good and bad feelings in the background for our consciousness, constantly making positive or negative judgments when we look in the mirror. It is never 100% sure or doubt-free about anything, and always has random complaints about the most trivial things that have nothing to do with whatever is happening. It is these small, frequent, unconscious inner battles that pass by so quickly, and yet painfully, that build up to creating a perpetual illusion of separation from Source. As long as we allow them to fly on by with awareness, they will surely dissipate, and the painful delusions they've created will become healed. As long as we allow them to fly on by with awareness, they will surely dissipate, and the painful delusions they've created will become healed. Now, of course, the divine purpose, why we need this annoying ego experience, is to entice us to believe we are separate from the God Source, just so that our journey home is that much more enjoyable and fulfilling. The key to enlightenment is always an exponential increase of awareness. It is about consciously bringing the blazing light of our own pure consciousness into the all that is dark. Desperate and hidden inside the deepest depths of our unconscious and subconscious mind, only through going deep inside ourselves can we blind the darkness with pure awareness and shift that which was painful to something creatively pleasurable. The mind is the only tool we've got to peer into the depths of our unconscious. The only problem is that we cannot ever 100% fix the mind with the mind. We must choose to transcend the ego mind completely if we are actually going to find true peace and freedom. It is very important to know that this ego is not some small anthill to step over and overcome. It is more like a real slippery and sometimes gooey Mount Everest, unless, of course, we've already had many lifetimes practicing the secrets to meditation. And the ego is quite the untamed beast, because each time we identify with any thought, idea, or opinion about anything, we become more attached to and identified with our egos. The more we do this, the more we are agreeing to identify with some particular form of reality, and thus creating a subtle argument with all that is. Any identification with our thoughts, as if they are real, will always be creating more challenge, ego, and unconsciousness. Over-identification becomes like a cloud, hiding the bright, shining, divine beings that we are from fully presenting its brilliant nature. When we buy into our thoughts as being real, we are creating a future experience of suffering because we are not honoring ourselves as the unbounded, unlimited, divine, sacred expression of the infinite universe. We forget that we are infinite beings. And the good news is that the all-intelligent, conscious, loving universe is truly the most forgiving teacher of all. It will be giving us a new chance, an opportunity in every moment to find our true source and self again and again and again. We don't just get one more chance to get it right. We get a chance every moment we are alive. And please don't take advantage of this by allowing for procrastination to run your life over. We might try thinking about enlightenment like this. Imagine you're in a great museum that is burning down. Even though there is the most amazing art to look at, you don't want to get distracted and hooked into some masterpiece on your way to find the exit door. The mind will bring in many ideas, like perhaps the desire to grab the Mona Lisa painting off the wall on your way out. Yet, the more that your feelings and desires take over you, you stop allowing for them to be what they are and get mesmerized admiring a gorgeous painting on the wall. Your ego is already programmed and filled with all the desires you could ever imagine. Your job is to find the you who is free from all desire and is already the source of love, bliss, and freedom within. This universe provides us with the experience of an ego for one special reason, so that we are given the opportunity to let it go and have a deeper spiritual connection to this life. The ego is not meant to accept, appreciate, allow for, or agree with what is happening in our inner or outer worlds. That would instantly destroy its very illusion of separation. The moment we begin allowing for our internal experience to be whatever it is each moment, the pent-up controlling ego program has to unravel itself and start leaving our DNA. Whatever contracted feelings that are slowing up in our bodies, stop resisting them and just allow for them to pass through. You'll notice the moment your ego surrenders to something much bigger than itself, your experience of suffering ends instantly. As we explore the deeper enlightening realms of the power of allowing, we will see that it's very important that we understand what creates a healthy and unhealthy allowaholic. First, by choosing to become an allowaholic, you are not becoming a dead doormat for this life to tromp all over you. Instead, you are choosing to play the game of being the master of your mind and your life. So if you feel that an unjust action is being done, you can choose to watch your ego react to it and form its personal opinion and judgment. You then have the three choices. You can buy into this viewpoint and believe it is reality. You can sit back and watch this thought come and go until it subsides. Or you can jump on this idea and take massive inspired action on it. Of course, the fourth choice would be to resist all of the above and remain stuck in the ever-controlling ego program. Yet this is not the divine practice of a true allowaholic. Your main job as a master at allowing is to let all three of these possible responses to be present and listen to the deeper divine message within you. There's always a higher source of intelligence guiding our every experience of this life from within. When we truly are listening to the still small voice from within, our egos have no power over our choices and have to get out of the way. Our passionate, vibrant, all-powerful souls are then living through us, speaking through our voices, and moving through our bodies without any of us having to do a thing. We basically get to sit back and enjoy the ride into manifesting absolute success on every level. This is one of the perks from being a healthy allowaholic. The ego is no longer navigating the ship as your highest self and soul's consciousness has taken the wheel and is peacefully in charge. As we will soon realize, practicing the art of allowing can be very tricky because it forces us to be in touch with our higher selves 24/7. We must choose to trust ourselves 100% of the time, to know when to respond with words or physical action, and when to just breathe and practice allowing the ego's internal dialogue to rise and fall. It helps to know that there are no mistakes in this life, and there is always a right time and place for everything. If perhaps you over-allow by letting a great opportunity to pass on by, you will miss out on some amazing new adventure in that moment of your life. Yet there will always be another one coming your way. Life always gives us a second, third, an infinite number of chances to get it right and become the allowing master of our existence. The greatest discovery we've found to becoming a master allowaholic is that the more you practice allowing, the more time you allow yourself to relax deeper inside your being. And as this occurs, you start trusting yourself on the most intimate levels, and this life just gets easier and easier and easier for us all. With deep trust and relaxation as our main operating software, inspired actions will move spontaneously through us, and we will be super energized from allowing any negativity to rise and fall away. There is nothing that we cannot allow to happen in this world. It is the ultimate conscious, effortless place to be, and yet has nothing to do with being lazy. As we allow and relax deeper, we see how the judgmental, limiting mind drops away, and we see the true infinite spiritual game we are all playing. Whenever you are feeling pulled in one direction and your mind is still unsure, hesitating, and unable to take massive action, try this. Simply allow your body to do whatever it wants to do. For example, you may be at your best friend's wedding and suddenly feel like lying down in the middle of the reception and meditating. Lie down, Go into the experience fully. Let the body guide you all the way through the resistance, and you'll see the spark of conscious joy ignite inside you. Perhaps you are allowing for each experience to move through your body, and you find you've reached the bottom of your experience where you feel completely stuck. Go into it fully. Allow for total stuckness. This is where you become an unstoppable source of surrender, and divine inspiration has to rise and take over you. You don't have to develop any new gifts or talents to become a master of yourself. It's more about allowing yourself to grow with each new experience that arises, so that the pure joy, excitement, and zest for life can reveal itself fully. Sometimes the mind may doubt if you should start taking inspired action on some fantastic idea that just showed up, or just let it momentarily pass on by without taking action on it. Remember, a master is not making decisions from the head. He or she is breathing into each experience, all allowing the deepest essence of the soul to be the guide. If perhaps you are feeling overwhelmed with a decision, a problem, or a negative memory that won't seem to go away, realize that you are overthinking the ego is attempting to be in control. Try allowing yourself to be in 100% resistance of all decisions. Be total in your experience of it. Fast forward this experience for 10 years. Imagine what it would be like to be resistant for that long. You'll see that as you stop trying to suppress or push any decision away, you start allowing the decision to form on its own accord and let go of all this extra thinking about how things should or shouldn't be. Perhaps the most magical formula of all comes out of knowing that whatever you resist will persist. If you simply stop resisting everything and allow that one unacceptable thought or feeling to rise and be intimately experienced at its core, it will fall away and cannot come back the same. Be aware that the mind is a master of making something simple into an overly complex, knotted mess. For example, the mind can get entangled in itself to the point that you may need to persist at allowing yourself to allow for a state of persistence. Let go of this nonsense and totally allow every experience to be as it is. With practice, we will suddenly find we've stopped fighting, controlling, and micromanaging our minds. Instead, our lives become this ever-flowing river of juicy, rich life experiences, which is what it was truly meant to be. One of the greatest byproducts is you begin experiencing and knowing yourself as a vast, conscious, spacious energy. You stop identifying with thoughts to such a degree that you drop into the true self deeper inside. This creates such a powerful, peaceful feeling in your body that it may seem that turning into an allowaholic might turn into something globally addicting phenomenon. Every moment we are choosing to be an allowaholic, we are creating a healing feeling of spaciousness within our beings. Vast, empty, loving space is the best container to unravel oneself and let in profound healing. We will find in time that as we master the state of allowing, each experience of life will rise. form and fall away, leaving in its wake a super neutral yet ecstatic feeling of absolute beingness. We slip out of samsara and into nirvana. We start being the divine observer of the entire universe, where we can see how we always were at the center of our lives. We no longer become easily caught in the mind, wrapped up in the periphery of life's dramatic and financial stories. Instead, we find that we can retain a more centered, loving, peaceful approach to this wild earthly existence all day long. We've found that the biggest truth in observing life is that ultimately there is no such thing as being a passive observer of your life. You are always impacting life with your consciousness. By simply watching something, anything, your thoughts are always, yes, always affecting and interacting with the atoms of that which you are looking at. There are a multitude of scientific studies which have proven this. Quantum physicists have proven repeatedly that wherever the observer places his or her attention, the quarks in quantum physics, atoms, and electrons instantly and magically show up and gather in that one specific area. It takes an enormous amount of energy to transform our outer world to be how we think it ought to be. And yet, once we take a tiny step back and start observing the cosmic picture of it all, we may discover that we might not necessarily want to change anything. That we may find the enlightening perspective that everything, everyone, and every experience on this earth is totally divine, synchronistic, and perfect, just the way it is. And sure, our egos will not always agree with this, or how things should show up for our own highest good here on planet Earth. Yet, this is the job of the ego, who thinks it can fight, argue, mold, and manipulate reality in order to get what it thinks it will make it happy. The more we practice allowing, the easier it becomes to transcend this slippery ego and discover a deep state of intense happiness inside us. A profound, sweet happiness simply arises from choosing to be at peace with what is. By totally allowing everything to be exactly as it is, happiness finds us. While our egos may not understand or want to participate in this definition of happiness, just experiment this week with the entertaining, the feeling of allowing everything to be as it is. As we allow for each and every experience to arise and fall all week long, take note how good your body feels as a reaction to this experiment. We have a grand opportunity to become a full-blown allowaholic. Our main job, of course, is to practice allowing for whatever happens to happen, just the way it happens. As we commit to finding what it takes to become a master allower, we will want to notice where in our lives we have the hardest time letting go of control. Who is it that we cannot allow to be just the way they are? Take the closest look at your personal relationships and how you relate to your body, family, friends, lover, mate, your mind, your things, clothes, time, schedule, or perhaps even other people's agendas in this life. When you've gathered an impression, write out a physical list of all the beliefs you have that are causing you suffering, as you write them down, practice stepping back from the idea of trying to control, fix, and change it within you. See that it is just a thought you've identified with. Just let your issues relax onto the paper and allow any contracted experience forming in your body to have the divine space to be just the way it is. Whenever the feeling of tightness, stiffness, contraction, or suffering shows up inside, imagine turning up your allow valve and increase the trusting, allowing feeling throughout your body. Give all your judgments and contractions 1,000% more space for it to have whatever experience it needs to have. All the time that we spend in this life, and for that matter, every life that we inhabit, we miss the mark. We get so tied up in the external material world. And we do this because we really aren't aware that the ego mind is running the show. The reason we want to control things is because the ego mind is in control. The reason that we become fearful to let go of things because of the ego mind's insecurity. The reason there is conflict, war, hatred, all of this, galactic, interstellar space combat, is because the ego mind is in control. And do not think whatever physical vessel that our souls and the gods within those souls inhabit are immune to the ego mind's control. For there would not be any conflict at all throughout this galaxy and this universe, the event that all of us in any physical form determined that the ego mind is not in control. That we view the ego mind, we watch it by leaving it alone. We do this by stepping into the now. There's no other way. By stepping into the now through our breath, the ego mind does not exist. Our mind chatter that we all have disappears. Worry, stress, fear, anxiety, doubt, guilt disappear by being in the now. So why is it, as the question has been posed to me many times, why is it so difficult for any of us to maintain existence in the now? Well, it's because some of us are unconsciously aware. And we do not connect to the ego mind, and we don't understand what it is actually. So, through each life, in most cases, before we have time to discover it, what it is, usually ends up controlling us throughout that life. But see, when you move into the now, you're able to, without judgment, you're able to view your ego mind, because they're both illusions. And once you view and watch them without judgment, you begin to understand why they're there and what they're for. They're there for us to discover through experience with them, how to master them. This is part of the game, that when we enter these physical forms, it's part of the game for us all. We either come to the understanding in that lifetime of what the ego mind is, so we step back from it, we move into the now, and quite frankly, the now is all any of us will ever have. We do not have the past. It is dead and gone. We do not have the future. None of us can absolutely, emphatically, fully confident, with no doubt, total trusting that we will wake up tomorrow morning. None of us have that, because we know that there is the possibility that we won't. In this whole life existence that we have, right? We come into, we have the soul and the God within the soul. So we come into these baby bodies, and we're like sponges, because we have no fear, we have no anger, we have no frustration, we have no pain and suffering, until we are literally programmed to have all those things by other people's thoughts. Doesn't this sound kind of strange? Such as whenever something happens that upsets you, such as someone disagrees with you or does something contrary to what was promised, simply say to yourself, I allow this experience to be exactly as it is. It's an experience, is all it is. Even if your ego thinks an experience is totally unacceptable, and it feels very hard for you to allow for this one certain person, comment, or experience to exist, try stepping back into a vast outer space and saying your magic allowing statement. Whatever the experience is, there is room in this infinite universe to allow for it. You may be pleasantly surprised how the judgmental mind subsides, and you can feel this spaciousness inside you, and how connected you can become to the God source in any outrageous experience. And with practice, we will notice that the levels of divine love, inner peace, and universal support that we experience on our inner world effortlessly manifests itself into our outer world. And yes, they are the same world. Now, if you wish to experience the truly miraculous being that you are and get a real taste of the amazing life that is yours to enjoy, you must choose to drop the mind. You must choose to give it up completely and let go of all clinging to its righteous beliefs and ways of thinking. That is the only way for any of us to be truly alive. Otherwise, we will just live in tomorrow or yesterday, missing out on this wondrous moment of life. And the true you can only be found here, in this now moment. And one day, that body that you're in and mind will be gone, which is why this experience of your life is so very, very, very precious. Your life is so precious. Take the time today to truly enjoy you being here, right now, and totally alive. How often do you appreciate the opportunity you have just to experience what it is like to be alive. This appreciation is your ticket to freedom. It is the main vehicle for liberating ourselves from the mind and its many prisons. To see, to feel, and smell the divinity within all things, we must choose to drop all attachment to the mind and its entanglements. We must choose to merge with it, find peace with the mind within us. Just imagine that you are the sun, and the mind is a small, hard comet heading towards you, about to get burned up in the sun's sacred fire. So my invitation for you right now is enormous. Stop trying to get anywhere. Just drop the mind. See how much you can really enjoy this day that you are still alive. In this very moment, you are still here. Who knows about the next moment? Remember this and choose to do everything you can to be radically alive. Now, my request here is not that you try and push yourself further into your known list of sensory pleasures, mental distractions, or physical addictions. I'm challenging you to go deeper into your aliveness, your spiritual nature, and find a deeper, more authentic joy inside of you. One that contains a deep, healing relaxation within it. I want you to find the peace that's within your soul. It is here now. And it will help you transcend every hidden anxiety and self-sabotaging behavior you have had. I want you to become so alive, so vibrating with life, that you suddenly realize that you cannot hold on to all your worries and fears, that they are no longer your priority. Imagine how it would feel to be so relaxed and excited about your life, living in this magical body-mind vehicle you are in, that you forget all insecurity and fear. What if the main mission of your life was to do this? What if finding absolute unending joy was as simple as being fully here now, welcoming the sacred moment and whatever the experience is giving you? What if the goal of your life was to cherish yourself in each precious moment, as if this was the first or last moment of your life? How would you live this day differently if this was your truth? Did you know the translation of the word sin? I've talked about this before. I wish this whole planet would understand this. It just means that to miss the target. That's all it means. I see that life is like a game of darts, where the bullseye target is being fully here in this now moment. This is where the divinity, your divine essence is found. It is the only place in space that it is discovered. So why be anywhere else? It is just the habit of the mind to be somewhere other than here now. When you take your eye off the target for an instant, you miss the goal of your life completely. When you are relaxed, open, present, and fully surrendered to what is here now, you can trust life, enjoy being held by life, and hit the target each time. The only thing that will always bring you into the now is your body and your breath. That's the only thing. The one thing that will always bring you into the now is your body and your breath. Practice listening to your body intimately and feel into how it is breathing into you this week. Really, really, really listen. What is it telling you? The body does not lie, and it's going to clue you in on an entire collaboration of vital information that you really need to know. Listen super closely, as if it were whispering to you from a place very, very, very far away. Notice what is the one message it has for you right now. It is pointing you inside, deeper inside, to the point of absolute relaxation, totally dissolving all tension, where you can find real inner peace. It is through your body that you will find the real you, who is forever intimately connected with this universe. When you practice listening to your body, letting go of the chit-chat in your mind, you start to hear subtle messages from this universe that guides you through the daily matrix of this life. This universe will show you how to get through this life, how to navigate your way into finding heaven on earth. This is your purpose for being here. To find heaven is here, in this now moment. When you deeply relax into yourself, into your life exactly as it is, you can discover the greatest miracle of all. You can trust that you are on the right path in every moment of your existence. You just see, feel, and deeply accept that you cannot get off the path, no matter what you do. This is true because you are the path. The path is before you, beneath you, and right where you are. Walking on the path, you see everyone is perfect just the way they are. You begin noticing that everyone fits into the grand perfection with all of their many imperfections, and realize the great miracle of them all is always here. Here, the most magical source of living is discovered. The real intimacy with life, the meeting of the divine with the mundane in every ordinary and extraordinary experience. Liberation is not very far away. It is just hidden behind you. Once you are authentic, the door opens. We can be such liars, pretenders, hypocrites, so deeply false. And that's why we feel liberation is very far away. It is not. For an authentic being, liberation is just natural as anything also. Our discovery, when we enter these bodies, is to remember that we are divine, supreme beings. We are the ultimate reality. Out there, which so many of us get caught up in, is the illusion. It's just entertainment. We have to have some form of entertainment, don't we? So we create it. We create the external material world. Unfortunately, like I said, most of us The exterior material world, external, is like that swimming pool. Most of us stay in that swimming pool and we're afraid to get out of it. Some of us get out of it. We'll go in, have fun, splash around, swim, and we'll get out, we'll dry off, and we'll move on. Then every now and then we'll dip back in the pool. But the majority of us never get out of the pool. The material physical world. Is that a bad thing? No. It's just that maybe the next lifetime, or the next, or the next. It's necessary to make your mind a prayer, the heart full of love. It is necessary to make your mind a prayer and the heart full of love, and every breath a melody of devotion. Then the soul becomes a glorified song of compassion, mercy, understanding, and humility. Annalie Scarron. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose. And an easy, slow breath out of the mouth. Remain relaxed and still. Depending on how long you've been ignoring certain issues in your life or running away from certain thoughts, the longer it may take to actually relax, train, and quiet the mind. At the very moment you let go of your life and are infinitely patient and accepting of yourself the way you are, a completely overflowing abundance of relaxation and energy will rise into you and through the world around you. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, September 7th, 2022, at 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call, at 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change.